So we are well on our way into phase 3 of reopening after the COVID-caused shutdown, with school just a few weeks away. And as a result, I thought it'd be an appropriate time to reflect on what has happened so far with COVID, specifically related to the federal government's economic response to the crisis. Hi, I'm Josh MacEwen here with Dufferin News, and today I'm joined by Kyle Seeback, Member of Parliament for Dufferin-Caledon. Now, Mr. Seeback was kind enough to share his informed views on the federal government's response to the coronavirus, and we covered the whole gamut, back to before businesses shut down, then the emergency response itself, and then the economic recovery. We finish off by asking Mr. Seeback what he considers to be the biggest flaw with the government's response to COVID, and his answer actually caught me off guard, as he made me aware that there's a certain population in our community not getting enough support. This was a great discussion, and I was glad to have an honest conversation with someone who would speak to the effectiveness of the programs that the government has implemented, as many groups in our community know that there's been plenty of room for improvement. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Seeback, for your time. This is greatly appreciated. And as always to the audience, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this segment of Dufferin News. Thanks. Hi, it's Josh MacEwen here with Dufferin News, and today I'm joined by Kyle Seeback, Member of Parliament for Dufferin-Caledon, and we're here to discuss the federal government's response to the COVID crisis. Hi, Mr. Seeback. Thank you for making yourself available for this. Your time is extremely appreciated. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Yeah, busy, but generally pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we'll just get right to it, and we'll start off with just the beginning of the coronavirus, right before the businesses were officially told to shut down.
Sure.
Now, what would you say to those who thought the Canadian government's response was delayed or unnecessarily delayed to the coronavirus, considering what we were seeing in Italy and we kind of had like weeks to prepare? Like, would you say
Yeah,
Canadian accept? Sorry?
yeah, I agree. I think that initially the government did not move quickly enough in order to secure our borders, in order to have mandatory quarantine and testing for people that were flying and entering the country from all over the world, especially people who had traveled to or been in China, where the outbreak had started. But the response was really slow. In fact, for quite a long time, people arriving at the airports were maybe given a piece of paper that said you should quarantine for 14 days. There was no testing being done of people for temperatures and other things, no contact tracing early on. And so I think that allowed the virus to spread much faster and much further than it could have.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that. Would you say kind of like Canadian exceptionalism would be to blame? Like maybe we thought it wouldn't happen to us?
No, I think it was the government was caught flat-footed. They were not prepared. They did not anticipate the scale and the scope of the problem that we were going to have, and they decided to take a very cautious and timid approach. There were countries that decided to take very aggressive approaches early on. I can say New Zealand is one, Taiwan is another. They were able to very, very rapidly shut down and constrain the spread of the virus because they took dramatic and drastic action very quickly. We got there eventually, but we got there much slower than these countries did. And our infection rates per 100,000 people was much higher than countries like New Zealand and Taiwan.
Yeah, it was surprising.